Captain Sarah Mitchell expected diplomatic pleasantries when she stepped into the Galactic Council's headquarters. Instead, she and her co-delegate, Dr. James Park, were escorted through corridors filled with whispering aliens who stared at them like they were walking bombs. The crystalline halls of the station were magnificent, sure, but the atmosphere felt less welcome to the neighborhood and more, please don't eat us. Is it just me? James whispered, adjusting his tie nervously. Or does everyone here look terrified? Definitely not just you, Sarah replied, nodding politely at a floating jellyfish-like creature that immediately retreated behind a pillar. They were led into an enormous chamber where representatives from at least 50 different species sat in a circular arrangement. At the center stood Zixral, a tall, mantis-like being with 6 arms and compound eyes that seemed to track every micro-movement the humans made. Delegates from Earth, Zixral's voice came through the translation device as a series of melodic clicks. We appreciate your attendance. Before we proceed with membership discussions, we must address a critical security concern. Sarah and James exchanged glances. Security concern? Sarah asked carefully. The classified report. Zixral gestured with 4 of his arms, and a massive holographic display materialized above the council floor. The title read, Earth Threat Assessment, Apex Predator Analysis, Classified Level Omega. For the past 2 standard cycles, Zixral began, his voice grave, our xenobiology teams have studied your planet's biosphere. What we discovered has deeply disturbed this council. A reptilian delegate with iridescent scales spoke up, her voice trembling. Your planet is a Class 9 death world, the most dangerous classification in known space. 9? James blinked. I thought the scale went to 7. We created 2 new categories specifically for Earth, another delegate said, a being that looked like living purple mist contained in a force field. Your world is an evolutionary nightmare. The hologram shifted, showing footage of Earth's various ecosystems. Your planet's biodiversity is extraordinary, Zixral continued, but every niche, every environment is filled with creatures designed to kill. Your oceans contain predators that have remained unchanged for millions of years because they achieved perfect killing efficiency. Sharks are pretty cool, Sarah admitted. Cool? The jellyfish delegate floated forward. Your great white shark can detect electromagnetic fields, track blood from kilometers away, and bite with a force of 18,000 newtons. You find this cool? I mean, yeah, Jing said. There's a whole week of television dedicated to them. The council members murmured in what the translators rendered as confused horror. The ultimate predator. However, Zixral raised his primary arms for silence. We are not here to discuss sharks, or your Ursus arctos horribilis, or your saltwater crocodiles, or any of the other nightmare fuel that inhabits your planet. The hologram changed again, now showing a silhouette. We are here to discuss the apex predator, the one creature that sits atop Earth's food chain, more dangerous than all others. The room went silent. Sarah leaned forward, genuinely curious now. What did they think was Earth's apex predator? This creature, Zixral continued, his voice dropping to what might have been a dramatic whisper, possesses capabilities that exceed any predator we have encountered in 3,000 catalog worlds. The silhouette began to rotate slowly. It was small, quadrupedal, and distinctly feline. First, Zixral manipulated the display, enhanced sensory capabilities. This creature can see in near total darkness, with a tapetum lucidum that reflects available light. Its hearing range extends far beyond human capability, detecting frequencies up to 64 kilohertz. A chart appeared showing auditory ranges. Sarah noticed humans were actually pretty low on the list. Second, retractable claw mechanisms. 18 individual weapons, each maintained at surgical sharpness through a sophisticated retraction system. These claws can deploy in milliseconds and tear through flesh, hide, and even woven materials. James was starting to grin. Sarah elbowed it to stay quiet. Third, skeletal flexibility and righting reflex. This creature can survive falls from heights exceeding 30 meters by rotating its body mid-air and distributing impact force. There are documented cases of survival from even greater heights Okay, that is genuinely impressive, Sarah said. Fourth, Zixrol was really getting into it now. Reaction time and strike speed. This predator can track and intercept fast-moving prey, including flying creatures. Strike speed has been measured at 45 kilometers per hour. Combined with their stealth capabilities, prey has virtually no chance of escape. A video played showing something small and fast catching a bird mid-flight. The revelation. And finally, Zixrol's voice reached a crescendo: psychological warfare capabilities. This creature has been observed engaging in what can only be described as torture. It captures prey and releases it repeatedly, prolonging the hunt for what appears to be entertainment. This suggests advanced cognitive function and possible sadistic tendencies. The hologram zoomed in on the silhouette's face, showing sharp teeth and slitted eyes. They are obligate carnivores, Zixrol continued. Their entire digestive system requires meat. They cannot survive without killing. They mark territory with chemical signatures and defend it with extreme aggression. They hunt alone or in coordinated groups, demonstrating both independence and cooperative intelligence. Sarah was biting her lips so hard she thought she might bleed. James had his hand over his mouth. Our analysis indicates these creatures are responsible for the deaths of billions, yes, billions, of smaller prey species annually. In some regions, they have driven multiple bird and small mammal species to complete extinction. They are an ecological disaster with fur. The hologram fully rendered. It was a cat, a perfectly ordinary orange-tapped cat, sitting on what appeared to be a windowsill, licking its paw with complete indifference to the galaxy-spanning panic it had apparently caused. The council chamber remained silent for exactly 3 seconds. Then Sarah lost it. Her laughter echoed through the chamber. The kind of full-body laughter that makes you double over. James wasn't even trying to hold back anymore, wheezing and wiping tears from his eyes. "I'm sorry," Sarah gasped between laughs. "I'm so sorry. But you're telling me," she gestured to the hologram, "you're telling me that Mr. Fluffybottom is the reason you called an emergency security session? Mr. Fluffybottom?" Zixrol's antennae twitched in confusion. "That's a house cat," James wheezed. "That's somebody's pet. That specific cat is probably named something like Princess Whiskers and sleeps on a heated bed." The confused murmuring that broke out among the council members sounded like a broken orchestra tuning up. The impossibility of truth. Pet? The reptilian delegate's scales had turned a pale shade of green. "You are saying this apex predator is a pet?" "Not just pets," Sarah said, finally getting her breathing under control. "We invite them into our homes. We feed them. We scoop their poop out of boxes. We take them to veterinarians and pay thousands of credits to keep them healthy. We buy them toys. We build them furniture." "This must be a translation error," the purple mist being said. "You cannot possibly cohabitate with your apex predators." "We don't just cohabitate," James pulled out his phone. "We obsess over them. Here, look." He projected his photo gallery onto the chamber's display system. Dozens of cat photos filled the air. Cats in boxes, cats on keyboards, cats wearing tiny hats, cats knocking things off tables. "This one is from a social media account called Cats Being Jerks," James narrated. "It has 500 million followers. Humans watch compilations of cats misbehaving for entertainment." But the aggression patterns, Zixrol was frantically checking his datapad. "We have hospital records of attacks." "Oh, sure, they scratch us sometimes," Sarah shrugged. "Usually when we try to pet their stomachs when they don't want us to. Which we know they hate. We do it anyway because their bellies are soft and we can't help ourselves." "You deliberately provoke them?" The jellyfish delegate's bioluminescence had gone completely dark. "I have 7 scratches on my arms right now," Sarah showed them. "All from my cat, Professor Meowington. He's an asshole. I love him more than some of my relatives." Zixrol sat down heavily in his seat, all 6 arms dropping to his sides. "You're telling me that humanity shares living space with billions of these apex predators, and you do this willingly, enthusiastically?" 600 million cats, actually, James corrected helpfully. "Roughly 1 cat for every 13 humans. In some countries, there are more cats than children." Someone in the back of the chamber made a sound like a kettle whistling and fainted. Nobody moved to help them. They were all too busy staring at the 2 humans who had just casually admitted to living with billions of apex predators, because they were soft. Sarah could see the council was struggling to process this information. so she decided to make it worse. Okay, let me explain something about human history. About 10,000 years ago, we were hunter-gatherers, right? And these small wildcats started hanging around our grain stores because the grain attracted mice. And you didn't eliminate them? Zixrel asked weakly. No, we thought, hey, free mouse control. So we started leaving out food for them. Over generations, the friendliest cats stuck around, had babies, and eventually we ended up with domestic cats. You selectively bred apex predators to live with you, the reptilian delegate said slowly. We didn't even really breed them intentionally at first, James added. They kind of domesticated themselves. They figured out that if they acted cute around humans, we'd give them food and shelter. They domesticated us as much as we domesticated them. The purple mist being flickered. This is the most disturbing form of parasitism I have ever encountered. Is it parasitism if both parties are happy? Sarah asked. Because we're very happy with the arrangement. The internet phenomenon. Let me show you something else, Sarah said, connecting to Earth's internet through the Council's systems. This is humanity's global communication network. It's used for everything. Education, commerce, entertainment, government, science. She pulled up statistics. Approximately 35% of all internet traffic is cat-related content. Videos, photos, memes, live streams of cats just existing. 35%? Zixrel's voice cracked. There's a live stream with 10 million concurrent viewers right now. James pulled it up. Of a cat sleeping in a sunbeam. That's it. Just a cat sleeping. 10 million humans are watching it. The stream showed exactly that. A fluffy gray cat curled up in a patch of sunlight, occasionally twitching its ear. This is the species that developed faster than light traveling, the jellyfish delegate said faintly. This is the species that split the atom, and they use their global communication network to watch apex predators sleep. There are entire social media accounts dedicated to people talking to their cats in baby voices, Sarah continued, clearly enjoying herself now. Here's one with 20 million followers. She played a video of a muscular, tattooed man holding a tiny kitten up to his face and cooing, "Who's a little murder machine? Who's gonna grow up and commit ecosystematic genocide? You are. Yes, you are." Several council members were making distressed noises. The bigger picture. Wait. Zixrel held up a primary arm. If cats are your apex predators, then what is? What creature on Earth does humanity actually fear? Sarah and James looked at each other. This was the moment. Well, Sarah said carefully, humans are persistence hunters. We're not the fastest species on Earth. We're not the strongest, but we can run longer than anything else. We evolved to chase prey until it literally dies of exhaustion. We also throw things, James added, better than any other species in known existence. Our entire shoulder structure evolved specifically to let us throw rocks and spears with lethal accuracy. We can kill from a distance. We are bipedal endurance specialists, Sarah continued. We can travel farther than quadrupeds while carrying tools and supplies. We sweat, which means we can hunt in the heat of the day when other predators have to rest. We have complex language that lets us coordinate hunts across miles and days. Zixrel was very still. You are describing yourselves. We also domesticated wolves, James said casually. They're pack hunters with a bite force that can crack bone. Highly intelligent, extremely dangerous. We turn them into dogs. We've got about 470 million of those as pets, too. You domesticated wolves? The reptilian delegate stood up so fast her chair fell over. We bred them into hundreds of different shapes and sizes, Sarah nodded. Some dogs are so small they fit in purses. Some are so large they can look a grown human in the eye. We did that on purpose for fun. We also domesticated horses, James continued. They weigh half a ton and can kick with enough force to cave in a skull. We climb on their backs and make them carry us around. We domesticated cattle, Sarah added. We milk them, eat them, use their hides for clothing. We domesticated pigs, chickens, sheep, goats. If it was big enough to be useful and we couldn't kill it easily, we made it our servant instead. The terrible truth. Zixrel's antennae were trembling. The species that drove your megafauna to extinction. The species that learned to control fire. The species that developed agriculture, metallurgy, computers, and faster-than-light travel. That species is you. We're Earth's apex predator, Sarah said quietly. We've always been the apex predator. We just think other predators are cute, so we let them live. The ones we didn't think were cute, or the ones that competed with us for resources, we drove to extinction thousands of years ago. You keep apex predators as pets because to you, they're not apex predators, the jellyfish delegate whispered. They're just small. Exactly, James grinned. A cat weighs maybe 5 kilograms. A human weighs 60 to 90 kilograms. We have opposable thumbs. We have tool use. We have abstract reasoning. To us, cats are basically fuzzy babies that we feed and clean up after because they're entertaining. But the risks, Zixral protested weakly, the scratches, the property damage, the aggression. Worth it, Sarah said simply. Because they purr. Because they're warm. Because they do funny things. Because caring for something brings us joy, even if that something is a highly efficient killing machine that tolerates our presence in exchange for food and shelter. The council was silent for a long moment. Your predators, the purple mist being said finally. Who domesticated other predators? Who domesticated other predators? It's predators all the way down. That's actually pretty accurate, Jenks admitted. The vote. We need to vote, Zixral said, though he sounded defeated. All in favor of granting Earth full council membership? Every appendage, tentacle, wing, and pseudopod in the chamber raised. The vote was unanimous, though Sarah noticed several delegates were shaking. However, the reptilian delegate added quickly. Amendment 774. Humans may not transport domesticated predators to council worlds without explicit permission and advance notice. Amendment 775. The jellyfish delegate added. Humans must label all food products containing capsaicin. Several member species' metabolisms would classify your hot sauce as a chemical weapon. We accept these terms, Sarah said, trying not to smile. One more thing, Zixral said as they prepared to leave. The cats. What was their kill count again? The billions of prey animals? Oh, that's a real problem, Sarah admitted. We've had to implement conservation efforts. Our solution was to put little bells on collars around their necks so birds can hear them coming. You handicapped your apex predators? Zixral's voice was barely audible. We had to make it fair for the birds, James shrugged. Some people keep their cats inside entirely now. The cats stare out windows, looking sad, and the humans feel guilty about it. But they do it to protect local bird populations. You prioritize the feelings of small birds over your apex predators? Zixral said, not as a question, but as someone trying to understand a reality that made no sense. We're complicated, Sarah said. Closing thoughts. As they walked back to their shuttle, James turned to Sarah. Think they'll be okay? Eventually, Sarah said. Everyone adapts. Besides, wait until they find out about the internet cat memes. Or Florida. Or the fact that we invented artificial intelligence and the first thing we did was teach it to write poetry and make art. We're not telling them about Florida, James said firmly. We're definitely telling them about Florida, Sarah grinned, but maybe at the third meeting. Let them process the cats first. The shuttle doors closed behind them. Through the window, Sarah could see the council chamber, where Zixral was frantically rewriting his report, probably adding sections titled Humans, the Actual Apex Predator, and Why We Should Have Checked That First. Earth was officially part of the Galactic Council. The galaxy had just welcomed a species that had conquered their entire planet, bent every other apex predator to their will, achieved technological civilization, and then used that civilization to watch videos of cats knocking things off tables. Apex predators, Sarah thought, smiling to herself as the shuttle launched toward home, where 600 million murder machines waited for dinner, belly rubs, and someone to open a door they could have opened themselves. Somewhere in the galaxy, Zixral was learning a fundamental truth about humans. They didn't just survive on a death world, they made it their playground. And then they invited their pets to play too. The galaxy would never be the same.